Take a moment and imagine your ideal breakfast. See it there on the plate? You got your eggs just like you like them, buttered toast, and of course, don't forget that bacon. I usually need a minimum of 3 strips. Now, before you dig in, think about where that plate of goodness comes from. The hands, the heart, the hard work that made it possible. Here in Cabarrus County, farming isn't just a job, it's a legacy. For generations, farmers have formed the backbone of our community, nurturing the food on our tables and shaping the land we call home. Sarah Newman grew up here and knows firsthand our deep farming roots. As the county's livestock and field crops extension agent, she works on the front lines, connecting local farmers to the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Office. Now, she's taken on a mission to honor the county's century farmers by inviting them to share their stories. I'm Dominique Clark, and on this episode of Did Y'all Hear, we're chatting with Sarah about her role and visiting 2 century farmers keeping the tradition alive.
America thrives here.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sarah Newman. I'm the Cabarrus County Extension Livestock and Field Crops Agent. So I work here in Cabarrus with farmers and consulting on agriculture, anything is all me.
I love that. What I love most, though, Sarah, about your story is that you are a 23-year-old woman in what many would say is a male-dominated industry.
Yep.
But yet here you are and doing so well. How did all of that come to be?
Yeah, I'm from right here in Cabarrus County. So I grew up in Cabarrus County on a small private horse farm over on the northwest side of the county. Went to Northwest Cabarrus High School, was really involved in FFA there. I've always been involved in agriculture, and being in FFA really did change my life for the better, and I knew I wanted to go into agriculture from there on. I went to Virginia Tech for 4 years and studied animal sciences. Animals are definitely my strong suit. I love agriculture in general, but animals, any 4-legged creatures are definitely my strong suit. Went there, studied animal science. I also minored in agriculture education because whatever I wanted to do, I knew I wanted it to be education. That's something I'm really passionate about. Didn't know exactly how that was going to look quite when I got to school, but I knew that's what I wanted to do. Fall of my senior year, I took an Intro to Cooperative Extension course at Virginia Tech. It was me and 3 other students, because as you can imagine, it's not like the most popular class at Tech, but Intro to Cooperative Extension, and we went out to different fields and worked with farmers. We went to different offices and learned what extension agents do, different camps, everything that we do in our office was that class. And I had to look up different cooperative extension job postings, and it just happened that in my home county, the livestock and field crops position was open.
Nice.
At that point, I didn't know if I wanted to do extension, but I was like, that's a meant to be sign, right? Like, I'm 21, I'm in my senior year of college, and somehow like the perfect position in my hometown opened up. So I took it as a leap of faith a little bit that I needed to come back. So I interviewed while I was still in school, and thankfully Tracy and the rest of the crew were able to wait for me to graduate. And I started last June, and I've had such a blast so far getting to work with. It's really special getting to work with your home county, yeah. Right? I know the area, which is really great, but a lot of other extension agents don't get that like homegrown feel. I get to work with the people that helped me growing up and continue to help the community that I love.
You are clearly passionate about this work and the work that you're doing, and that's so wonderful that we get to have a gem like you in this community to share all of that knowledge. And I know you have all of this knowledge that you want to share, and you've gotten this great idea.
I kind of just thought of the idea of feeding within your local community. So what is just the daily lives of farmers, right? Because we get to eat 3 meals a day because of the hard work that they do every single day. So what does their day look like versus our day? And we don't even have to think about where our food comes from, right? But that's only because that they're working so hard. in what they do. When I got back into this position, I work within a program called the Voluntary Ag District. So that's just a system to put your parcels of land in to track it as certified ag, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So we have over 300 parcels of land in that right now, a couple thousand acres, right? It's in every county here in North Carolina, which is such a great thing. A good bit part of my job is keeping up with those farms, renewing those, updating those applications, all those sort of things. We're always trying to think of how can we use that program to kind of push what it's really about within the community, right? Because it's only really a program that me and those others in my office know about. It eventually changed into Century Farms because of those voluntary ag district farms I have, and I have, over 300 parcels now. There's some that really, really stand out, and those are the Century Farms. But a lot of them, there's not a great outlet for them to share their stories and share what they're doing, and not even just what they're doing right now, but what they've been doing for 100 years on that same piece of land, what their family has built there. So I thought it was really important, not only to share about the agricultural side of it, and that's how we get our food every single day, but the history within Cabarrus County does run really deep.
Here's some of Sarah's chat with Concord's Lewis Suther of Triple Ridge Ranch.
I grew up here on that farm. I was born in that farmhouse right there behind you years ago, and started off young working. I showed my daddy I could milk a cow when I was 7 years old, and I had a full-time job from then on. So there's no let up in something to do on a farm.
What do you focus on? Crops, livestock, and how does that look day to day?
It's livestock, grass, and hay. That's what we do. So I want to improve the pastures for the cows, get enough hay to get them over the winter, and I see it. I'm not getting in that farming. Years ago, farming was a hit and miss thing. It didn't have the government backing you up with subsidies to take care of you in bad years. If you couldn't make it, you lost it. And there's a lot of people lost it farming.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be a constant theme moving forward, as not only here in Cabarrus County, but North Carolina is one of the biggest states losing farmland every single year. Cabarrus County probably is one of those top counties, so it's something that is a running theme, and it's something we need to continue to think about and advocate for.
It used to be Triple Ridge Farm, but I changed it, my part of it, Triple Ridge Ranch, so it wouldn't mean confusion about it. So Dad started buying land back that my great-grandfather lost. We're back in business, I'd say, and I'm going to leave this farm to my daughter. She lives next door, and she's going to carry on, and I hope she can make a go of it.
Yeah. Very cool. It's always so important about, being able to have your farm to leave to somebody that wants to continue the legacy of, what you've built out here. It's so cool. What are some of the biggest challenges you think you face out here, day to day, but also big picture?
Well, if a piece of land comes up for sale, there's going to be a house on it. And they keep coming. I get phone calls practically every day wanting to buy this place. They want to get their hands on it with a bunch of houses on it. And it's not going to happen in my lifetime. I don't know what Jennifer's going to be able to do, but the encroachment, you feel like you're just getting pushed in, and you get on the road with equipment, it's dangerous. So, I whatever I can do to protect farmland in Cabarrus County, they need to be doing it now, not thinking about it. They need to do something.
Yeah. Do you all have an easement on this piece of property?
We have an easement on the creek. We put an easement on the creek to protect the water supply from Mount Pleasant. They drink out of Buffalo Creek back there.
Talking a little bit about community and, being right here in Cabarrus County, I think we have a really unique community, not only in the farming community, but kind of even out on the western side of our county, where we see a lot less farmland. What role does the community play within your farming operations?
Well, they play a big role because I look to get my cattle processed up here at Rima Town. We have a sale barn, Rima Market up there. We have farmers market in the county, place to sell your goods. You need to know where your food's coming from, and you need to buy locally.
100%, 100%. You all sell beef
Yes.
off the property as well?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, that's everything I will always say is, support local, figure out, local places of agriculture around you, because, that beef that you can buy right here is born and grown and raised right here. And I think that's something really special that not a lot of people take advantage of, especially here in the Cabarrus County. We have a lot of people in that market.
It's home to me. I grew up here on the farm. I know it was a tough life when I was a kid. I'm gonna tell you, you up at 5, and my daddy was he disciplined you, and if you didn't do what you're supposed to, you get your hind end wore out. So I'm gonna, but it's still, it's home. He ingrained in me what it was to get out and work. So I've traveled a lot. I've been around. I've been Europe, Canada, a lot of different places, Australia. But it's always good to come back home.
You are profiling these longtime farmers. I'm sure you've heard some interesting things, heard some great stories. What have you learned, or what has been the most fascinating thing that you've come to know?
Yeah, like I said, history and agriculture runs really deep here in Cabarrus County. And, today we kind of see it as a pretty urban setting, but some of that farming still runs deep, and it is a daily tradition kind of in the county. And it's something people don't think about all that much. So I talked to a farmer that actually we haven't interviewed yet on the phone the other day, because he's doing something else for me. He is actually the former agricultural agent here in the county. So the former me, Carl Plus, he was talking about how his family's farmed in 3 countries.
Wow.
Technically, the colony of the United States, the 13 colonies, whatever North Carolina would have been at that point, right? The Confederacy, during the Civil War, when North Carolina broke off and, was part of the Confederacy, and the modern United States. And I thought that sentiment was so cool just to hear, it goes back that far, and he knows that, and he's so proud of that. And it's farm that's in production today, and people are getting agricultural goods off that same land that was colonized back in, the 1600s. So that was a really cool thing to share and hear. The Century Farms program is something that's run through the North Carolina Department of Agriculture. They each individually had to go prove that their farm has been there for 100 years and prove their family name over that 100-year period. So most of this is going back and getting deeds and getting all the paperwork lined up, which is easier said than done for sure, getting all the deeds and the paperwork in place. They had to prove that they've been here for 100 years on those parcels of land. We have one farmer and then a couple getting close to that bicentennial status as well, so the 200 years back, which, again, of course, it's looking through hundreds of deeds and a lot of paperwork. It's a really big process that Soil and Water Office helps out a good bit with kind of just searching through that paperwork and the mapping and all of those things. There are currently 32 Century Farms here in Cabarrus County, which I talked to my friend the other day, and she's like, 32 is a lot. I was like, is 32 a lot? I feel like I have no, is 32 a lot? I have no idea. But now that I think about it, and the land that Cabarrus takes up, and even now to this day, we think there's nowhere near as many farms in Cabarrus County as there was 50 years back, even 10 years back. So still being able to say that there's 32 Century farms in the county, I think is something to be proud of. Those farms have a huge range of what they do. A good bit of them are cattlemen, so people running cows, people doing hay and pasture land. Some of those might be doing more traditional field crops and row crops, so wheat, corn, soybeans, some produce as well. And then some of those, we also have farms that run forestry, so pine. They might not look like what you think of as a traditional farm with tractors out there plowing the fields, but there's a lot of forestry land here in the county as well.
Sarah also sat down with Eddie Moose at his Century Farm in Mount Pleasant.
Our farm here has been on the same land, same people since 1764, I believe. And our original name when they came over was Buzzard. They later changed it to Muskernudge, and they shortened it up to Moose. They settled in southern Pennsylvania, Northumberland County, and they say it's still the poorest county in Pennsylvania right now. So that's how we got this far. And we just, a great-grandfather, great-great-grandfather, a grandfather, and then my dad and myself now. And that's how we got where I'm at right now.
What does it mean to you to be here on a Century Farm in North Carolina and kind of have that title?
Well, it makes me real proud to have the farm in the family for that long and have it survive. And I don't know what's going to happen when I'm gone, because it seems like the young kids don't want to chip in. My kids are really interested in farming. I have two kids, Allison, grandkids. Well, I have two kids, Allison and Travis. Both of them have public jobs, and they help a little bit on the farm. And two grandkids, and they're interested in farming, but I don't see them doing much more on the farm.
So here on the farm, how many acres are you on, and what do you really focus on day to day as far as what do you grow, what do you produce?
Well, I own about 180 some acres, and I rent most of it from other local people in the area, and rent most of my cropland, and some of it's in forestry. And what I raise most is soybeans, corn, a few sunflowers, and I raised wheat until this year, and this will be the first year I haven't had a wheat crop because it's just so hard to get rid of, and the local markets are so finicky. So I do raise some oats, and I have a small cattle operation. I run about 35 brood cows, and we used to do hogs when I was in college. I went to Appalachian State, and they called me the Appalachian Farmer. So we had a 40, had a farrowing house we built in 1976, and that was fair to finish on top hogs. And we ran that till the big operations came in, and it was just not feasible to raise them out. We raised our own feed and did the whole operation here on the farm. We're walking out here toward a soybean field. Was harvested about a month ago, and it's been put in cover crop for the winter. Next spring I'll probably mow it for hay if it continues to do well. And everybody can't see it, but we're walking out to some forestry where we had seedling pines set out. These are approximately 13 years old, and they'll thin them at 15. And the next cutting will be probably in 30, 35 years, and they'll be saw timber, we hope. And
Forestry is not for the faint of heart. You
have to have 19 acres to qualify for forestry, 19.9 acres, I think, in Cabarrus County. The land I live on here now is approximately 70 acres right here, but 40 acres was the original 180 some that my granddaddy owned. And then every generation, your land seems to get divided up in smaller and smaller chunks. And that's one of the challenges a lot of farmers have, because when they're farming, even renting land, when they're farming it, family has a disagreement or a family member dies, you lose a lot of land that way.
Estate planning is a really good thing we didn't talk about. It's really, really important moving forward to protect our farmland everywhere. Make sure we're on top of estate planning.
And if a farmer gives up some land, it's not hard to find anybody to pick it up. So I'm not too worried about anybody not farming my land. I think there'll be plenty of people that'll want to farm. Probably not my family, but there's plenty of friends around here, neighbor farmers that would pick it up.
Looking towards the future on your operation, what are some of the big goals, or is there anything you're working towards here on your farm?
I'm working for retirement. I don't know. I don't have any goals. I've made a lot of goals. I've missed a lot of them, and there's challenges every day. But what I like about it most, it's just something different every day. You don't make a if you do make a schedule, something's going to happen. You're not going to follow it. You're going to have a calf born, you're going to have a sick cow or something you got to mess with, and it's just a different challenge every day. You got to fence down a tree over the road or something, so it's a challenge. And my goals, I guess at my age, I've met all my goals.
Good. What does it mean to you to be a farmer here in Cabarrus County?
Well, first of all, I'm proud to be a farmer. A lot of times we don't get a lot of credit for it, but you're not a fireman, you're not a policeman, you're not a public servant, so you don't get much credit. But I'm really proud to be a farmer, and I've been ever since I got out of college, and actually before that, because I was born on a farm, and my dad worked a cotton mill and farmed at the same time, so you know what kind of work he did. And my granddaddy, he always worked with a horse, so I've been through a lot of changes, a lot of technological changes through, and I'm not a computer person, but I do use my cell phone. And a lot of your tractors and combines and stuff, there's a lot of transitions in that because they've gone to computers and touch screens, and I think I got one that's got a radar system where you can shows where you're spraying. But other than that, the farming is a good life, and I'm just proud that the Lord gave me the land to farm.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Some would definitely say farming is a dying breed. I think it's an evolving breed, right? Because there are definitely less farmers. So you think of Cabarrus County back 50 years ago, we looked a lot more like what Stanley County and what Montgomery County look like today, even Anson County, right? Pretty rural counties, very much smaller populations, and a lot of those folks farmed full-time as a source of income. That is not the same here in Cabarrus County in 2025. A lot of those farmers today are farming part-time. They might not be running quite as much land as they did previously. And a lot of farmers don't farm as their number one source of income. However, that's changed a lot. Farming in general has changed a lot, and we see a lot more small farmers and we see a lot more younger farmers, right? Those wanting to get into farming and start, get their feet wet and start. While this project doesn't necessarily highlight them, that face of farming in Cabarrus County still does include them, new farmers on smaller tracts of land that might not be century farmers, but are still an important part of the story. My big goal with it is to, allow Cabarrus County citizens to grow to be agriculturally literate and know where their food comes from and be able to advocate for it and share that knowledge with others, right? That's a huge part of my job, not only, consulting with farmers and working with them, but being able to advocate for us and teach about what we do every day and where your food comes from. And it is healthy and it is something that can be trusted. There's always media about agriculture and pros and cons and bads and good things. And we could talk forever about all the misconceptions about agriculture, right? But hopefully being able to, some local faces you can trust and see daily within your community, and share about what agriculture looks like to us and why it's something you could support. And you do every single day, 3 times a day, you support agriculture, but continuing to.
Thanks so much for tuning in. Just like the hard work that goes into farming, our Cooperative Extension team is all about planting seeds in our community, then helping them grow. If you want to dig deeper into their programs and resources, visit the URL listed in the show description. Be sure to stay tuned for more updates on the Century Farms project. We've got some exciting things coming your way. And if you liked this or other editions of the Did Y'all Hear podcast, subscribe, give us a rating, and share everywhere you can. And before you go, we'd love for you to stay connected with us. Visit cabarruscounty.us/cabgo. That's CABGO to find all the ways to get information about our programs and events. Oh, and the next time you see a farmer, thank them for all they do. They deserve it. Take care, Cabco. We'll talk soon.